Shamai Pau, Chryso. Welcome to this regional briefing, regional guidance on the school governing body school complaints procedures. This is based on the work we've done over the last year interpreting Welsh guidance that was put out, the Welsh Government guidance back in December 2022, and advice for all governing bodies to ensure that they are updating their guidance with this latest guidance from the Welsh Government. This is a short 6-page briefing document that I've been asked to put together by the 5 directors across the region, so it's consistent advice across each governing body across our region. So, key in the Welsh Government school complaints procedures, and there is a hyperlink there in the document to them, it's been shared several times before as well, is that it is down to each individual governing body to manage complaints. You can have your own complaints procedures. However, it's strongly advised, we've shared this in the past on the spring and summer agendas last year, that you follow the Welsh Government guidance on this. There is strength in holding on to that consistent guidance. Governing bodies are required by law to establish a complaints procedure that should ideally be published on your website, or at least made available to any complainant immediately in the school. Be aware that this guidance has changed. It's not hugely significant, but it is recommended that you update to this. It advises as well, as did the previous guidance, on a 3-stage process. Now, not every stage in this will the governing body get involved. Stage 8, where most complaints should be dealt with, an informal stage, could be with a class teacher, could be with a head of year, may be escalated to an informal discussion with deputy heads, senior leaders, the head teacher, etc., but then resolved that issue so that the complainant is satisfied, or things have been explained and clarified to the complainant. There is then a formal stage. Again, this does not always have to involve the governors. It is a complaint at stage B directly to the head teacher. It is only the chair of governors who will get involved at that stage if it is a direct complaint about the head teacher. Otherwise, the head teacher deals with it as well. These may require independent investigation. These are decisions for the chair of governors, and it may be that the chair of governors wishes to delegate to another governor with agreement the investigation of a complaint if it's about the head teacher. At this stage as well, we strongly recommend that you seek advice from the statutory committees team here, or your relevant local authorities officers, or both at the same time, because there are many things that are not a complaint and should be handled following other processes. For example, if it's safeguarding, it's the safeguarding procedures that take place. If there's any safeguarding concerns, you need to make sure that the head teacher in the main, or if it's about the head teacher, the chair of governors, has immediately sought advice from us and the local authority as well. If there's links to staff disciplinary in there, or it's a staff grievance, then those will be handled under those procedures, not the complaints. Similarly, for school admissions, pupil exclusions, there are separate procedures for those. There are separate procedures as well for managing ALN provision, or school organisation proposals, or the delivery of the curriculum in Wales. So those are not areas where you would follow the complaints procedures, and it's at that stage B where that decision would be made. But what I am saying is, please seek advice from local authority colleagues, from ourselves and the statutory committee team, should that be the case. If something's been investigated at stage B and the complainant is still unhappy, feels it's not resolved properly, appropriately, then the complaints committee would meet, and this should be rare. We would strongly advise that all complaints committee members have a look at the training on our website. It's available online as well as the scheduled ones, so you don't have to come along to the scheduled meetings. There is a video recording where you can have a look at it and email in any questions if you have any concerns. This is because we know complaints committees meet rarely. We know that half of our schools across the region, over half in fact, have not had a complaint reach this stage in the last 6-7 years. So it's rare that as a governor you would be involved. Now, if you are involved, do the training. It's a panel of 3 usually. It's a chance for the complainant to be heard. Can be virtual, can be physical. That's for the committee with the complainant to decide. You may want to seek advice from the LA and us on any risks associated with that, the location of where the meeting should be. What will happen? The complainant will be heard, And then whoever investigated at stage B, the head teacher, the chair of governors, or whoever it was delegated to, will present their report on behalf of the school. It may require an independent complaints committee with agreement. Perhaps one, two, or even all three members could be fully or an independent member. What we have, there was a flowchart in the old guidance, which was removed from the new guidance by Welsh Government. We've recreated it, and it gives strong advice, to use this revised flowchart. At stage A, it is with the teacher or designated person within 10 school days, and then issue hopefully resolved. But if not issue resolved, it would be right to the head teacher within 5 school days to enter stage B, and then the head teacher or designated person will write to you and offer to meet you, offer to investigate, or delegate that investigation to someone else appropriately within the school. Hopefully resolved, but if not, it's then at stage C that it would be right to the chair of governors within 5 school days. You note here that there is not the opportunity for complaint to leap from stage A to stage C. There has to be a report to be considered, written at stage B by the committee at stage C. Then it's informed of the outcome within 10 school days formally and the complaint resolved. There isn't in the guidance any stage after that of appeal. Stage C is in effect the appeal stage, but there is an opportunity for complainants to raise it with the local authority about procedures and process. I'll come on to that in a moment. It's worth saying all time scales above are targets, not statutory requirements. And in complex complaints, they can take much, much longer than that. The important thing is to do it right, not to rush to artificial deadlines. They are guidance only. The local authority role, and I touched on this earlier, is to satisfy itself that you as governing bodies have an adequate procedure, that it's appropriate, and one can add additional advice such as this to governing bodies. A governing body can seek advice from the local authority or us on behalf of the local authority, but it's worth remembering that the statutory responsibility remains with the governing body. There is one local authority that has an education customer complaints line to give advice to the head teacher and combined advice with the EAS to governing bodies as well. The governing body may include a stage C after, we never have, but the local authority will consider the procedures are being followed, and that's the key. When you have a complaint as a governing body, the important bit is to follow the procedure and stick to them, because that's where you can come unstuck, rather than going and hoping in a way that it will just be dealt with and perhaps go away. That's where it becomes far more complex, escalated, tensions rise, and it becomes much more awkward in the future. If the procedure is inoperable or there are grounds to cast doubt on its independence, then the local authority may arrange, but notice this is with the agreement of the governing body, for a panel to consider it. The ultimate sanction of local authorities not being used in this area in the region that I'm aware of is under the School Standards and Organisations Act 2013, is to use powers of intervention if a local authority. That would mean a wider range of governance elements broken, I would say. Our role as the Governor Support Service to provide training on this role to all governing bodies. There's a direct link to the latest training. There's the terming workshops, there's the pathways programs where this is discussed as well. And I know a number of schools have asked for bespoke training on this where they have had difficulties in the past, which we delivered as well. We would encourage everyone to come on the generic training, which is more than enough to meet the needs of governing bodies. We provide advice to all chairs of governors on any stage B. We also have some simple optional templates for you to use for an investigation report and outcome letter, but we don't directly support at that stage in writing anything or convening any meetings. That's the informal stage. What we do, and this is part of an SLA, so it's the option 2 insurance policy part of the SLA, and there's a link to the SLA there for us to clerk those meetings for you and to call them for you as well. It's not essential that you do. You can choose your own clerk, but you need to make sure that they are independent of the complainant and totally impartial. The final element is further information in addition to our training linked earlier, but you've got the schools complaints procedure guidance directly. You've also got our governor website where we've got procedures and editable Word documents for schools to adapt, and that will be helpful for you in putting together your own guidance, your own policies and procedures. We've then got a range of contact details which may well be subject to change, but you have the contact details, and if you're not sure of anything, our statutory committee's mailbox will remain consistent and the generic phone number is there as well. So that was what the directors have asked me to put together to give you a feel as governors for the regional guidance. We strongly advise that all governing bodies, by the end of the summer term at least, should have looked at and updated their school complaints procedures to be in line with the Welsh Government ones. Otherwise, you do run the risk of your procedures not being seen as up to date compared with all other schools and the guidance that is available. That's a strong, strong recommendation, steer from the 5 directors of education to all governing bodies. Diolch yn fawr iawn pawb, thank you for your time. Hope you enjoy discovering more on the links that are in this document, and all the best. And if there are any issues or complaints, you know that statutory committee's email is there to help and to give advice and guidance. Thank you all. Diolch yn fawr iawn.